Hello, welcome to Car Talk, a new YouTube series where I spend time in interesting cars and with the interesting people that are around the automotive community. It's designed to capture some of the essence of the car world. So this is my GT86. It has done 126,000 miles, 115,000 of those are me driving it. Now, I've slightly modified this. It's on teen coilovers, it's got EBC's big brake kit, it's got 18-inch wheels staggered front and back so that it sits a little bit more squat. It's got a Tuning Developments exhaust kit on it. It has rear lights done by Valenti, which are the go-to rear light modification for GT86. It's got a tiny little roof spoiler and then obviously a livery. Now, this car to me is so much more than just transport. It has gotten me through breakups, it's gotten me through moving house, I've travelled to France in it, I've travelled to the north coast of Scotland. It's been around. I do track days, I do sprints, I do hill climbs. I have done a lot with one car. Because my car is an extension of me, and not in a weird little, this is my personality splashed on a car. It is something that I connect with. It's something I have a very up and down relationship with in a love-hate sense. And when it works, it's the best thing in the world. And when it doesn't, I just want to set it on fire and get rid of it. Now, many people might relate to that because for a lot of us, cars are an extension of who we are. I can get in that car and go for a drive when my head is feeling a bit messy. I can go to a car meet on a Sunday morning and make friends and talk about cars and lift the bonnet up and show all the little bits and pieces that have been done to it. I can go to a track day and push it to its limits and most likely break something, but still create this connection with a piece of metal that is inherently designed to take me from one place to another. And that's the beauty of the car world. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and get in and we're going to go for a drive. Right, welcome to the inside of my GT86. Now, I've had this car for 7 years, so it's all quite familiar. I fell in love with this car because of this seat, essentially. I went to test drive a different car, had a go in this, sat in this seat, took it for a drive, fell in love. That's it, that's how this happened. I hadn't intended to buy this car. I had an Audi A6 avant that was given to me by my dad because it was worth nothing. There was no point even trying to sell it. It had an oil leak, it was just worthless. And he said, if you can insure it, you can have it. So that's what I was driving. And then one night, in the middle of a night shift, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was on my break, I nipped to Tesco, I hit a curb because I couldn't see it, and I bent the rear axle. So I needed to replace the car because it wasn't worth replacing the axle. So I went, as you do, to go and have a nose around, essentially. I thought I'll try an MX-5, an Audi TT, BMW Z4, just to see what a little sports car might be like. It was my 23rd birthday coming up, and I thought that might be quite a nice little treat. 23rd birthday, sports car, very irresponsible financially back in the day. Not amazing at it now, but back in the day, very financially irresponsible. I was living in a bedroom of my then girlfriend's parents' house. I should have been spending money on rent, and I wasn't, and I went and bought this. So £22,000 later, and 5 years worth of car finance signed up for, I had my own very little nice sports car, and I've had it for 7 years. So as much as it was a bad financial decision at the time, this outlasted that relationship. So it might not have been a bad idea at all. Now, I've put 115 or so thousand miles on this car. And I'm not going to lie, it's been through ups and downs. At 45,000 miles of the car's mileage, not of my ownership, it had done about 9,000 by the time I got it, the bottom end bearing went, which is caused by oil starvation, and then it basically blew up. I was on my way to work and then got a lot of rod knock. So went to Toyota, took a bit of back and forth to diagnose and then sort, and then I've done over 80,000 miles since. So it's not been completely perfect, and I wouldn't want to misconstrue this car as the be-all and end-all of perfection. But I love it. There isn't a car that I've driven, other than the GT86, which is coming up in another video, that makes me feel like this car does. It gives me confidence when I drive it. I'm not a racing driver. I've done a few track days in a few different cars, not just in this. And outside of that, my experience of driving has been on the roads. It's on the back roads, TM, before they jump in. It's on the motorways, it's commuting, normal driving, essentially. And this car makes me feel so much more connected to the experience of driving than anything else I've driven. And I've driven some interesting stuff. It's not just that I've driven one sports car and a load of Audi A3s or my Audi A6, for example. I've driven some spicy stuff, I've driven some very firm stuff, I've driven some very, very fast stuff. But this car always makes me feel connected to the driving experience, and it always rewards me for a good bit of driving. I haven't driven another car that gives me a sense of accomplishment when stringing together a set of corners as this one. It really does make the driving experience an experience. It really does keep you engaged, it keeps you rewarded, it makes you feel part of the process. Now, heel and toe downshifts to that roundabout in the second gear has become somewhat of a normal thing, because this car inspires the confidence that I can do that without having to think about it. And that's the beauty of the GT86. I'm not going quickly. I'm not doing 1,000,000 miles an hour to enjoy this car. I'm doing 30 miles an hour around a set of roundabouts, and it's still enjoyable. It is part of the process, and for me that's a huge part of driving. I recently drove a 1,000 horsepower Tesla, and that didn't feel like anything. You go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, and there's no excitement, there's no drama, there's no connectedness. I was at 0 and now I'm at 60, and that's it, that's how it feels. And there's a certain value to these cars that is really missed by a lot of both the automotive enthusiast world and the general population that aren't really bothered about cars, and that is this experience. Being involved in the process of driving is so rewarding. Being able to jump in a car and go for a drive in the evening with the windows down and the radio off and just clear your head has so much value that we really need to appreciate it more. And one of the things that people say about this car is, oh, it's not very fast and it's underpowered and it'll get outrun by a Golf in a straight line, and my mum's shopping trolley will beat you down at the lights. And that's missing the point, because yes, it's only 200 horsepower, and yes, I would like 300 because I think that's the sweet spot for this chassis. But that doesn't matter when you're on a good section of B road and you're only doing 60 miles an hour, but you're holding the line at every turn. You're not doing things dangerously just to get an experience out of the car. And that's where this car sits. It's like the MX-5. People who have had and owned and driven MX-5s always say the same thing. It's a great experience, it's a lot of fun. And that's what this is. It's a lot of fun and a great experience. I think this will stay as it is. The only thing that I might change is if I find something to replace it as a everyday, use it for everything car, I'll probably strip it out and put a roll cage in it and take it to more track days. But that's about it really. It doesn't need much more. A friend of mine has one that's got a wide body kit and it's got a V8. Somehow he's fit a V8 in there. It's on air ride, and that is a fully built experience of a show car. That thing is as show car as you can get while still being able to drive it to and from the show, and it's amazing. The only downside is it's 6 foot wide and it's on air ride, so he doesn't get the experience that I get, where I can go round a roundabout at 50 miles an hour, holding the car right on the edge of its grip, and come out the other side with a big grin on my face. Like I'm doing now. But this car holds so much value to me. It's more than just transport. It's got me through some tough times. It got me through a relationship breakup. And every time I've needed to go and clear my head, I've been able to step into this car and just go for a drive. Just spend an hour out on the road. There's nowhere as a destination. Probably the petrol station, if anything, or to go and get a coffee. And this car just creates that space and gives me that freedom. And I think that's a part of cars that we miss as we're rapidly approaching them as tools rather than experiences. We need to keep that magic alive. There we have it, my GT86 and the first episode of Car Talk. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and if you did, make sure to do all the usual: subscribe, like, comment, all that sort of stuff. But if you have got the time, please do let me know what sort of stuff you would like to see, because I'm trying to be as authentic as I can with how this whole thing works, and Takona as a whole is just me. So you guys and the people that engage with what I do really do make this possible and worthwhile doing. So if you have got any ideas, if you like anything, if you dislike anything, if there's anything that you think I can do better, just let me know. I'll try not to argue too much. But yeah, follow us on the socials, give the video a like, give us a subscribe to see more. I think currently I've got planned a video with a C1 Corvette race car and a review of the GR Trio. So if you want to know when they come out, follow us somewhere. If you hate us, if you hate the videos, unfollow after that. You might just enjoy it though. Thanks.